Hello. Looks like we're live. Awesome. Hello, hello. If you hear me okay, let me know. If you're here, definitely say hi. So, today is a very important topic for me. I want to say I'm currently inside of a local library, just change of settings, but I didn't bring my light with me. At least the camera looks better than it did last week, okay? And if you caught last week's, it's there. But today is definitely better lighting, and the topic is amazing. And so I'm glad you're here with me live or you're catching the replay because we're going to talk about connection, okay? And how to really experience connection. Before I get started, I always tell myself I'm not going to cry. When I talk to twin flames, when I talk to all of you, I have like such passion about the things that I really feel deeply for and the things that I tell you about and stuff that sometimes the passion. Let me see. Okay. I do apologize for these. Hopefully, this won't happen again. If not, I'll have to switch network and keep it going. This might be a short live today. Let's just put it that way. Okay. All right. Connection. You whew, we go through connection, leaving parts of ourselves at the door. Okay. You might be like, how on earth are we doing that? Leaving parts of ourselves. We don't fully show up in connection, but yet we want someone to love us fully, to hear us, to be there, and things like those. Okay. So you can let me know in the comments if this is you. You open up about the things that go on inside of you. You let people know what's happening inside of you. If I'm not getting answers, it's okay. Probably a good number of people are feeling the same way. You're vulnerable and you're not afraid to show it. You connect with the person, and I'm not talking about trying to be right or proving someone to be wrong. I'm talking about like really connecting with the person. Okay. If you didn't answer yes to any of these, this was definitely me. And it was me too. I can relate with you. And so when we do this, we often find ourselves struggling to really connect with someone because we're hiding parts of ourselves in the connection. And those parts that we keep within ourselves are the ones that help them connect with you. Okay. Those parts, I have to repeat it for the people in the back. Those parts you hide from yourself is what they need to connect with you. But what happens when we're growing up? We're told, we're too much. Our ideas are too much. We're loud. You're so rude. How dare you? All this kind of stuff that dims our light and causes us to feel like we have to hide those parts of ourselves that connection really needs. Okay. And we get so good at hiding from ourselves that a lot of times we don't even know what's happening inside of ourselves. Right. I mean, we have an idea. We're like, oh, I don't feel good. I don't feel happy. I don't feel. And then these aren't even really feelings, but we learn to connect with those feelings in our mind. And when we communicate what's in our mind, like you're this, or I don't feel like this, or it's not making sense to me, I need you to be like this, then we believe the person understands us. Okay. And I'm getting to the running part in one moment. I see a comment. Thank you for being here. Sacred Time with Carlita. I'm continuously doing the work. I've been seeing my twin since April, but he's not completely out of connection with his karmic because they own a house together. Okay. And so that is in the hands of the universe. That is in the hands of the universe. I quit. I want to say I quit questioning the universe. I do have my moments where I'm like, universe, I know you're onto something. Holding. I know you've told me all kinds of things, and I'm there with you. except for those moments, but then I go back there with you. And I share that with you because if this is you, where you're like, a lot of times I don't trust my intuition, know that you're normal and it's okay. And this is a part of the work that I do is we get in touch with your intuition. You know, a lot of times I've said this in the previous video, when I get started with someone and with a client, and they tell me, but the internet says this and that. I'm like, you know what? Let's take out the internet. Let's take that away. Okay. And some of you may be like, even you, Asheen, whatever resonates with you. Okay. So let's move from that and let's connect with in here. Not up here, in here. What does it tell you? Okay. Not the psychic readers, not those wonderful, glorious twin flame contents, okay? Not even those two. What is in here? And a lot of times I get the truth. All right. Do you allow someone else, even your twin flame, to connect with that truth inside of you? If you're protecting that truth, like I can't open up, I can't say anything, then how can this person connect with you? And what I had learned through my own healing, they're saying to give credit. Okay, that was with okay, I see a comment there. That was definitely with Lee, where I had sessions. And where was I going at with this? And I was able to connect with that. Well, I wasn't able to connect with that truth at first, because sometimes we feel like we know what our truth is, but when you sit with it, you'll know what your truth is. It's not that surface level. You'll know what your truth is. And then your truth comes out when you are screaming. You're like, I can't take it anymore. Well, guess what? Your truth got tired of hiding. It got tired of hiding. And so in those moments when you scream, what happens? The person gets offended. I always have this saying, okay, and this is a big part of the work I do, is helping people connect with others. I have this saying that when you yell, oh no, going back, not when you yell. People are sensitive. Okay? It's not your imagination. People are sensitive. If you're sensitive too, even if you say, no, I'm tough, I'm not sensitive. But what is tough? What's tough? When someone tells you the truth, but you have to stand firm and stand your boundaries and things like those, defend yourself. Why? Because it touched a nerve. Because you were feeling sensitive in that time. So people are sensitive. And so when there's enough yelling or enough triggering and where you project that to someone else, the connection breaks down. And so that's one way. Now, I said, let's talk about runners, okay? Runners. We like to label people, which I recommend take the label off and move into connection, because that's what's really happening. And you can let me know if this is your experience. And we're not going to make it about the twin flame. They're saying we're going to move from the twin flame and make it about how you connect with someone. All right. Or your experience with connection with another. I know you're going to be able to relate with this one. Okay. All right. You open up. You're feeling pain. And you do what you can to open up. And guess what? You felt unheard, unseen, invalidated. You're expressing the things going on inside of yourself, and you believe you're doing this, and the person comes at you with something logical, comes at you with, oh, it's okay to look on the bright side, be positive, right? But you're in pain. And that pain means something. And that pain matters. All right? I'm not blaming that person. And if you've done this in connection, I'm not blaming you either, because we're not taught how to connect with someone. So let's say the person opens up, and even if you're in a relationship with them, maybe all this time went by and you're like, why are they distancing? They seem to like communicate less. They're growing backwards, or something is slowing down. Something doesn't feel right in that connection. And then before you know it, they're no longer there. And you're like, I don't get it. I was so nice to them. I was so kind. I gave advice. I was there, right? Or it seems that way. I'm telling you, we are not taught how to connect. Most of us are not. How to really sit back, calm in yourself, and connect with their pain. And you do this with yourself first. Everything is with yourself first, okay? Everything starts there, where you connect with your pain. Stop running from it. Stop running from it and calling the other person the runner, okay? If you get angry, like, put it in the message. I don't care. I'm here for it. I'm here for the clarity and everything. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to put out there, you can be like, Asheen, I gave it my all. Oh, let's get to that. We're going to get to that. I gave it my all and they left. Okay. So you slow down, connect with your pain, and connect with their pain too. One of the most special things you can do in connection with anyone, and you can start doing this with anyone, is to slow what here keeps trying to say. Maybe there's this, maybe there's that, and all this kind of stuff. You've got to, no, not in here. You've got to master the mind, the ego. I say master. That's where it begins, okay? If it's constantly thinking, constantly creating some false idea to make you feel safe. And I know how tough it can be. Like, that mind can be so strong and say, they're doing this and they're hurting me. Okay. Number one thing I hear, they're hurting me. Have you heard that or heard yourself say that? Why is this person hurting me? Are they? Our mind likes to shift to the me. It's me. It's happening to me. And your whatever the mind is saying. When a lot of times, this is what helps in connection, guys. Okay. This is what really helps in connection. When you can see that it is a scared person in them, just like it's a scared person in you, who's showing up right now. Okay. When they're in ego, when you're in ego, when you're in, when pain is taking place, when these words are coming out of nowhere, is a reflection of something, some sort of pain inside. And you're able to recognize this when you can see it in yourself first. All right. Number one, you first connect with it and sit through that and understand why these things are coming up for you. Why are you feeling this way? Why are these words happening? Why is the reality looking the way that it is? Instead of saying the reality right now sucks and I can't stand it, like, and then we just keep looking at the reality and creating huge, I want to say stories. I like to say beliefs. It could be stories around the reality. We keep looking at it and we're like, no, your outer reality reflects inner. That will not change for anything. Even if you're like, Asheen, I don't believe that. It's not going to change for anything. We're here, we're a soul, having human experiences, that phrase, but the universe is there too. Okay? The universe is there too, lurking around, listening to you, following those thoughts. And you might be like, Asheen, well, what do I do with this universe And my thoughts that just keep, I don't know, saying whatever it wants to say, and I don't know how to break from that thought. I will tell you this, and I tell my clients this, I'll tell you this because the information you hear from me, it is not the same as you're hearing from out there. No. They'll tell you, ignore your fears, ignore whoever they may be. You know, I'm not choosing one particular person, and I'm not saying to put anyone's work down at all. At every aspect, I am a believer. We're all out here teaching. The best way we know. And I've listened to other information and I do not disagree with them. I see them as one part of a bigger picture. Okay? Because what you desire to experience is connection with another person. Or maybe if you're hyper independent, if you've been hyper independent, put a comment there because this was my story, okay? And I came to find out this was actually my grandmother. Like, I've been hearing all kinds of stories from my parents, and I'm like, oh, that's where it came from? The hyper independency. I don't need anyone. I will die without someone. I'm perfectly fine. And that kind of stuff until your soul calls in your person. This is why I truly recommend doing they call it the work, healing, connection. Okay. And so when your person comes in, they will trigger you. That is a normal experience. And what do we do with triggers? We get angry, we point fingers, and when I say your person, I mean the person you feel connected with. Your twin flame. Not them. Not them. Even though I truly understand you may use the phrase my twin flame. I get it. And perhaps I've used, well, not perhaps, I've used it, and we use it to refer to the one we feel connected with. I get that. And the one the intuition says, hey, you're connected. You share a soul with this person. I get that. But they serve as a mirror for you. Okay? It's not another you. It's you. And I know that's a hard concept to grasp. So I usually like to put things in a way that takes it off of the person. And it's more like your outer reality reflects inner. Your transformation unfolds outside of you. Your transformation, like whatever you want to experience, abundance in love, abundance with money, and all this kind of stuff, is happening regardless of anything. Anything. So you might be like, how do I create this outcome? How do I do this? You don't. You don't. You align with it. And that's it. And so you might be like, okay, Isheen, how do I align with it? Well, the universe is helping you. That's all that's happening. The universe is helping you through every triggers, experiences. People come into your life, they trigger something in you. You feel like someone is meant for something. No, you're on this journey, okay, the spiritual journey and of ascension, and everything that is not in resonance of where you're meant to be falls off, or you learn it. I know you might be like, I'm tired of learning lessons or something like that. And that is all that's happening. Now, what we do is say, I'm afraid I'm messing it up. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't mess it up. Okay? Now, if you're like, Isheen, you're speaking in riddles, like, I don't understand. You can't mess it up. You are afraid because that fear exists inside of you. And that fear is not in resonance. It doesn't align with where you're going. So it has to show itself. It comes up. I'm afraid because it's in you. The fear, the limiting belief, the things your ego is saying, it's all in you and it's coming to surface. And then when you say, well, I can't feel those things because they might manifest, that reality is going to show up. Well, where are they going to go? If you can't feel them, where are they going to go? Nowhere. They stay inside of you until something triggers you again and they come to the surface. You can feel into them. Okay? Those are parts of yourself that is calling for your love and attention, not from someone else, a physical body out there or anything. No, yours, your love and attention. And sit with that part. Because for a really long time, that part of you has been saying, please see me. I am in pain. Can you see me? Because they don't. I'm in pain and nobody has seen that. You know, it's a true need. That's what I always tell everybody. Your needs are important. Stop minimizing them. Your need for love, validation, to be heard, to feel seen, all of those are real. And where we go is we try to look for something outside, get something, even if it's money. It may not be a person. I need that money so I can feel safe and whole and all this kind of stuff. That's what we do, which creates a disconnect with ourselves. And the love has trouble showing up, and money has trouble showing up because we're looking for those things outside of us. Okay? For those out there who struggle with money, you know, I've been down that road. The universe loves to pick on those on the twin flame journey and say, all right, time for you to leave your job, make some money, let's go. And you're like, what? I have fear around money. Like, I don't know. I live paycheck to paycheck or something, or I can't lose my job because what if money doesn't come in? And all these beliefs around money, you know, that you might be like, why twin flames? Yes, it's a special journey. It really is a special journey where you're getting to all these things and you're really connecting with yourself and you're moving towards abundance, total surrender in abundance. Let's not make it, this is what I say, but of course you go with your soul, make it about another person or anything happening outside of you. It's happening in you. All right, so I'm going to get to the comment here and then I'll continue. I feel her wants to tell me more when I see him. All right, her wants. So this would be the karmic person, I believe, or the one we're calling karmic in this moment. I feel, he wants, okay, so you corrected it. I feel he wants to tell me more when I see him. Yes. Okay. Yes. He does. He does. Okay. Your intuition tells everything. It tells you everything. It tells you the things you want to hear. It tells you the things you don't want to hear. And then or maybe you're not clairaudient like I am, but you'll have, where clairaudient is my number one. We all have psychic senses. Clairaudience, where I hear a lot. And they were talking to me a lot today. You know, the spirits talk to me so much. And sometimes I'm just like, can we stop? Like, I just want to rest for a moment. Okay. And so you're hearing it, you're feeling it, you're seeing it, you're dreaming it, any particular way that it comes in. We're not taught how to believe those things. We're taught that the things we see is all that there is. And I used to be like that. You know, there was a psychic lady that came to my job when I was in the office and she says, Isheen, you need to expand your consciousness. I was like, what is that? She was like, I know you believe in God and you're super religious, which I was at the time, but there's more out there. And I was like, what on earth are you talking about? And it really wasn't until I met my twin, went through a spiritual awakening, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa. And it's been there. But a lot of times we don't notice. We don't notice till we go through these experiences and we're like, wait a second, what am I hearing? I'm hearing something, or I feel something. It's all true. I say it's true. It's all real. Okay. So believe that. And a lot of times I just say it. If my twin is thinking something, I'm like, I think you're about to tell me about this. No feelings to it. If we're like, I can't tell the truth, no, I just say it. And pretty much that's what it is. And it actually, before my psychic senses really heightened up, and I was at the start of this journey, and I knew my 20-year friendship with my best friend was about to end. She finally answered her call because there were all kinds of things, all kinds of signs showing me what was going to happen. And the very first thing I said to her is, I know, you're calling off the friendship. She was like, oh, how did you know? And I'm like, I literally saw it everywhere. When I say everywhere, it was everywhere. I was learning to read cards, the 10 of Swords. Was it 10 of Swords? I might mix the name, where the person's laying down with 10 swords, I believe, on their back. Okay? That told me about betrayal. I heard it on the radio. Like, the signs are everywhere. Even your feelings say, something's happening. Trust that. All right. And the crazy thing, my twin told me he feels so comfortable with me and doesn't know why. I laughed inside, but I know I can't completely tell him about the connection until we are fully back in union. Go with your intuition. I can say so many things about this. Okay, definitely go with your intuition. I'm going to get back to that one in a moment. I'm a dreamer and empathic. Yes, you are absolutely on point. Says Aquarian Chancellor, thanks for being here. I'm learning to trust my intuition. It is, I want to say it's a skill to practice, to sit with. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. None of this whole journey, nobody's fault. Okay, we're not taught to hear ourselves. And it's one of those things that I do with my kids now, is to really hear them so they can learn how to go with their intuition and to trust their intuition too, as long as no one's getting hurt, right? And so it takes practice. When you weren't taught that your intuition matters, that your beliefs and all this. So now you're relearning to do that, and that's okay. All right. And I feel quite sad, says Natalie, as I feel like I've lost connection to my higher self and him. I sometimes slip into doubt that I can't have that happy ever after. He's told me he loves me, but then silence. Ooh, this is good. Thanks for bringing that up. All right. Yes, sometimes it can be tough, but except truth is key. Okay. So I'm going to, before I answer that question, Natalie, I'm going to go back up to what Carlita had mentioned. I can't completely tell him about the connection until we are fully back in union. So when you believe, and I'm not going against your belief, I'm sharing what happens. All right. And then you trust your inner self there. Take what resonates. When you believe that you can't talk about the connection, it's because you're believing he can't feel it. Okay. You're believing that perhaps you're the only one going through these experiences, seeing the signs and synchronicities, the messages, repeated numbers, whatever it may be, that it's just happening to you and not him. Or, get this, you're hearing from his higher self. I got to find a new word for it because it's really more of an inner self than it is something up there higher. It's inner self. So you're hearing his voice. And so there's a part of you that says that you may not realize is saying, he can't hear mine. It's a connection. Okay. A connection is neither created nor destroyed. It's felt by two people involved in the connection. He can feel it. Okay. Now, if you throw terminologies like twin flame, we're twin flame, he's gonna be like, How dare you? Why are you going to put a label on this? Okay. Like, what is that? Twin flame? Like, I don't think so. I think you've been dreaming about this. But when you describe it as a connection, I feel some kind of connection with you. It's a connection, no labels. And he feels it too. And if you've seen one of my video, I remember when my twin mentioned it, like, when are we going to stop pretending we don't feel this connection? I was in shock. I was like, you feel it too? We believe it's just us. No, a connection is felt by two people who feel connected with one another, not your imagination. And so if you ever open up about it, you can mention it in that kind of way. Once you get connected with your truth, really connected with your truth, you're just expressing your truth. We judge our truth. Like, it's wrong to feel this way. I'm not really feeling this way. Yes, you are feeling this way. Yes, you are. And that's all you're expressing. No expectation, no control, nothing. This is the work. I say this is the work I do with clients, is you release the mask. We wear masks a lot, and we pretend to be something else. We pretend something else is going on when that's not the case. Okay. All right. So that's what I had to share about that one there. And there we go. And Natalie asks, is it normal to go through these quiet moments where the signs slow down? It is normal. Signs. All right. This is my awareness with the signs. The signs guide you. They're giving you direction. And it's like when I want to call it like a GPS navigation or something. When you're going straight, you don't need to turn or anything like that. You're not really hearing anything because you're on the right path. When you need to take that turn, then you're going to get a sign like, hello, this way, this way, and things like those. And the universe sends signs about the connection, or perhaps you're just feeling it with this person you feel connected with because you're experiencing a connection. Okay. And what I want to say is just don't look for it. Don't feel for energy, don't anything like this, because it is a journey of you, and let everything else unfold. Because the moment, and I'm not saying you're doing that, Natalie, the moment we are searching for it, we're being outside of ourselves. It's out there somewhere, and I got to feel it in here somewhere. No, everything is inside of you already. Everything you need on this journey is inside of you already. And you really just have to connect with whatever it is your intuition is letting you know. And that's it. And the universe takes care of the rest. You've got to believe the universe takes care of the rest. We didn't ask for this journey. Let me know if you asked for this journey. Maybe you asked for it. I know I certainly did not. And so I'm like, all right, if I didn't ask for this journey, then I know there's big stuff happening here. So I didn't ask for it. But yet I'm guided all the time. And so are you. Okay. Let's see. All right. Sorry. Quiet, not quite. All right. Thanks for clarifying. That makes sense about describing as a connection. I have told him I feel his sadness. Oh, there you go. At least twice. I know he hates dealing with his karmic and his house situation. He doesn't know how to get out of it without losing the money he invested. See, you mentioned that. I feel your sadness. Connection. It's not about calling it twin flame, and this is what we are. It's about your feelings. I feel something. I feel you. I hear you. And things like those. We connect that way with others when we express connection in that kind of way instead of putting a label on it. Okay. And And you have that awareness because you're connected. You know, a lot of times people are like, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what the future looks like. But I feel these things and I'm aware. Like, it's just so interesting how you know about the person without saying words to each other. And those things are real. Okay? They truly are. And then sometimes that inner knowing that you know of the person outside gives you an idea of what they're going through so you can understand it, even when they can't explain it themselves. Okay. And this might be a long live with the stories I'm going into. I first really came to learn, because I'm going to go into the story anyhow. I first came to learn about this with my son because he went to a party and then he said, "Don't come pick me up. I'll ride my bike home." Okay. And I was like, all right, no big deal. When the party was about to end, I heard, "Mom, can you come pick me up?" That's what I heard intuitively. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then I heard, "Hurry up." And I'm like, oh my goodness, all right, let me drop everything. And then I went there to pick him up. And the first thing he asked was, why are you here? Like, I told you not to pick me up. And so I felt confused. I was like, wait a second. I heard this. So at first I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, okay. But then I was like, oh no, I have to say something. And then I asked him, were you thinking about asking me to pick you up? And he was like, yeah, because his legs were hurting him and he was not sure if he would be able to bike home. When we have these feelings, we hear things, we have the dreams and that kind of stuff, we tell ourselves maybe that's not true. Maybe it's not real. Because we're taught to only believe what we see with our eyes in the 3D. That's not even reality to begin with. You know, you have the inner knowing. All right. And I don't know if you remember, but I told you about a new connection soulmate, and you mentioned it being a healing one. Well, she had discarded me out of the blue when everything was going great. It is a healing. It is a healing one. And you might be like, I said it's not a healing one. It's a healing one. All right. She discarded out of the blue. I definitely reach out. I don't have my email below, and I'll put it there. Reach out, and I can help you with this a little bit more if you would like that help. I cannot go too much into it because I would need more information. When someone leaves out of the blue, it's never really out of the blue. Okay? We believe it is because there were either signs that were there, some sort of disconnect, and I'm not blaming you, trauma that she was triggered by, that perhaps she didn't open up about. But again, there may have been signs, and she couldn't speak up and left instead. Okay, I'm hearing avoidant. Avoidants have this behavior, and there are different types of avoidance. I'm not going to turn this into psychology. I can go on and on. That's for another video and that kind of stuff. So someone who avoids connection, because disappearing is a way of that, out of the blue, without communicating, is someone who avoids what's happening inside of them. And they have been used to avoiding it because they were taught to avoid. And if they open up, you're going to judge her. If she had opened up, you're going to judge her. She's not feeling well or something like this. Something of that nature. And so I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm really sorry the experience happened to you. You know, I had mentioned my story. I ran. And in those moments where I disappeared, I did. I ghosted twice or something like that. I only saw my pain. I did not see his. Until years later, the universe showed me what he went through, and which was very similar, by the way, like literally no difference. Where I went through was crying and screaming in my car at the top of my lungs because the pain felt so bad. And he did too, where he was clutching himself in a corner somewhere in pain. But I couldn't see that. So one of the things for my own healing that I had to do is stop inflicting pain. Literally, like I can laugh about it now. It's not funny. It's not funny. I had to learn to stop inflicting pain because ghosting, leaving, like you mentioned, out of the blue, hurts. It hurts the people that we say we love. And I had to stop hurting people that I say I love. Okay, big part of my healing. And in doing that, because this is what people who ghost do, I got to go into that pain. That pain is intense. And maybe you have that within yourself too, when you need to open up about your truth. If I open up, they're going to judge me. They're going to make a lot of noise. Like, we can't talk. I can't go into it. And then what happens when you go into it? You're shaking. You're nervous. You can't find your words. At least you're making an effort if this is you. But with the person who's avoidant, I can't do that. It's terrifying if I open up. Like, I've never had a good experience in this area and stuff like that. Your healing helps this person to heal. It's not you healing them. They heal themselves. When you heal, and when I say heal, you're calming this thing here that says, how dare they? they were doing that. They were operating through their trauma. Okay? It's not a blame thing. When we let go of the blame, we start to connect with the person inside who has not felt safe in love. And even yourself, if you hold on to love, you haven't felt safe in it either, because love is free flowing. So this person, love is terrifying. You say you love me, but I don't see it. I can't feel it. I don't know what it is. It's a lot of outside when love is experienced inside. And when we receive that inside, we can receive love from someone. But when we connect with someone, we might be like, I love you. You should just feel it. Well, if love was always painful and everyone else who says, I love you just disappeared, I don't know if you're going to disappear because you're telling me you love me just like they did. Or perhaps these are some thoughts you've had. Yeah, I want this connection. I love it, but are you going to disappear? I don't know if you're going to disappear. And so when we get into that, we exude some sort of energy that the person perceives as, oh, you don't want me. You're like, there's so much in the dynamic that I say it's a healing connection. And you can't change the person, but you can look within yourself and say, all right, was I connecting? Maybe you were. Do they know that? Did that person know? Did they feel connected with me in some kind of way? Or, hyper independent folks, I'm connecting, but I got to do this. I need to do this. I got to clear things before we can actually come together. Like, I need to do all this kind of stuff. And then they slip away. And we're like, wait a second. I was getting there. I was getting there. The universe was just like, Isheen, you've got to connect. Figure it out. This was my journey. Okay. And so with someone who has an avoidant nature, being calm, non-judgmental, removing expectations, control in the connection, letting it flow, actually helps them to start to feel safe in connection. When they open up, there's no judging or projecting. Why do you feel that way? Well, I don't. Well, that is judging too. And when they begin to feel like, oh, this is different, this is safe, they take a toe dip. Before you know it, like all 10 toes, just the toes. And then before you know it, half the feet and then the whole feet, and they jump in and they're good to go. And that kind of stuff. This is how someone who's avoidant in connection begins to come out of it. And when they open up, you listen, you hear. I'm telling you, this is what I teach, connection. It's not just about, get your person to come back. You actually learn how to connect, okay? And you can begin to do this now, where you're showing up as who you are. You're connecting with yourself now. And allowing yourself to feel connected with others without judging them, labeling them, anything like those, minding the ego that wants to create some sort of story about somebody that a majority of the time, they're saying all of the time, is not true. Is learning how to stop letting your ego protect you in connection. I know the ego, and I'm going to do a video on the ego. I do have a masterclass on one because I love the topic on ego because I didn't know what ego was for a really long time. I remember when I was introduced to it, I must have spent years researching it. Like, what on earth is the ego? What is everybody talking about? And then when I saw that my ego was huge, I was like, I know I must have hurt some people. I know I have hurt some people. Okay. The ego is, I like to look at it like it's your inner person, your inner child, the inner toddler that's throwing a tantrum because something's not going his or her way. And it needs to go his or her way. Like, it's not even you. This is in your subconscious mind. That's what your inner child is. Okay. There is a belief in your mind that you learned about people, about connection, and that kind of stuff that has been keeping you safe. Whatever it may be, your parents have said something, your parents argue with each other, your parents had, they said things that made you feel less than, not intentionally, we're not blaming them. Or school inflicts trauma. Okay. School is one area that would certainly do that. Or even certain religion that says you're not good enough unless you follow certain things. And if you don't follow those things, you're not good. And so then a part of you is like, well, I guess I'm not good enough. And those beliefs stay in there. And when you're triggered, those beliefs are like, I told you so. I told you. Yeah. I knew it. I was right. There it is. There's evidence of it again, and that kind of stuff. That is your ego. Okay. And let me protect you from the evidence. Let me keep you distance from connection and make up all kinds of stories about them or try to control them because I need to feel safe. You don't ignore your ego. We're talking about connection. Your inner person, the subconscious mind, where that belief is, we'll bring it back to your inner person. This is how he or she understands the world. This is what was taught to this person. And they need your help to not stop. You always want to be gentle with your inner you, right? There are ways to do this. You need to help this person. Okay. Another way to look at it is you have your conscious that says, I want love. And you have your subconscious, your ego, limiting belief, the mind, your inner child. That's your subconscious. Okay. that says, but they're going to hurt me. They're going to hurt me. And so a part of you is like, but I want to experience connection. I want to experience love. But if that other part of you is still saying, I'm going to get hurt, it makes it hard for love to be there. And it did not start with this person who you feel connected with as your twin flame. It started before that time. Okay. And this journey is just showing you, hey, it's time for you to do something about that. Okay. It's time. And so on this journey, the pain comes up, the fear comes up, and you're like, bye. I'm going to keep running from it because that's what they taught you, the folks you were around when you were younger, who told you it's okay, or you're too emotional, or all this kind of stuff. That's what they taught you. Just ignore it. This is your permission to stop ignoring it. This is your time to connect with it, okay? Because it's been wanting to experience connection. And when you're experiencing connection, guess who can experience it together with you too? Yeah. All right. So really starts there. All right. But we're making a lot of progress towards healing. All right. And Natalie says, sometimes I feel that maybe when he opens up to me, I don't trust it as it's quite intense. And the energy doesn't feel right, very intense. So I go into protective mode, which then pushes him away. Ooh, I love what you're bringing up here. All right. So hold on. I got to read this again. Okay. All right. It depends on what's happening in the situation. And you can always let me know, All right. When our intuition, now you're going to be like, okay, Sheen, I can't tell intuition or ego. Like, which one is it? Well, you got to sit with yourself and figure it out. If you're not quite sure how to figure this out. So I want to give an example. I'll word it in this particular way. There's two people who are connected with each other. And one says, don't worry, I'm safe. You can trust me. Okay. And the other person says, I don't know why that is. I want to trust you. I don't know how I can do that. Because one of the things that happens is, that person who's saying, don't worry, you can trust me. I'm so nice. Like, I'm a good person, isn't opening up about something, okay? They're not opening up about something. So sometimes when we get this feeling and we're like, I don't know what this feeling is. I don't know, there's something about, because feelings, even in that person, cannot hide. You can't hide your feelings. You're feeling a certain way, and perhaps even if it's I'm not trusting you, that's giving an energy away. And that person is like, well, I don't know if you're really into this. But then they're not opening up about it, and you're getting like, I don't know. Like, you say you're okay, but I'm not sensing that. Trust it. Sometimes we label something, and you might be like, okay, I'm starting to get confused, Asheen. When you start to trust your feelings, it's going to take you places. You're going to understand this. When there's that feeling, something's off, don't blame yourself. We tell ourselves, okay, I need to work on trust. I need to trust, but the feeling keeps saying, hey. And we're like, okay, I'm not going to look at this feeling. Like, I really need to trust. And the feeling says, hey, knock, knock. And then you're like, but I don't want to go into that feeling because what if it's true? Okay. And so our inner self keeps saying, but I don't think it's not true. Where trust comes in is when you can learn, it's not placing, I'm going to place my trust on that person. I'm learning how to trust myself. Okay. I'm learning how to trust myself. And I see it with so many people when they have that feeling about something. And eventually, when they're sick and tired and they're fed up, the truth comes out. Or maybe the person says the truth and they're like, I knew it all along. Like I was just having this feeling and I knew it all along. And so when you're in your truth, guess who starts to be in their truth? Okay, you're right. That person you feel connected with. When you're not in your truth, guess who can't connect with your truth? They're saying, don't worry, that you can trust me. But deep down, they're like, I don't really trust you. And you're picking that up and all this kind of stuff. They can't either. They don't know how to trust you. You're not in your truth. And your feelings don't lie. Okay. And so sometimes it's not about, I have trust issues. Or perhaps if you want to consider that, it's I have trouble trusting myself. I want to learn how to trust myself. Okay. And my intuition, it's my intuition. He's not stable at the moment. He has a drink and gets very emotional. I feel this is why I don't trust when he says, I was taught to not trust my intuition. There you go. There you go. And you'll find truth in that. Okay. You will. It'll tell you some more things. And I giggle sometimes. Pardon my giggles. All right. If anybody out here is like, oh my God, why is she laughing about it? Pardon my giggles. But it's very real. It's your intuition is telling you things. And it's through that truth, the truth begins to set whatever it may be free in your connection. The connection does not ask that you hide from your truth. Okay? I know everyone will say different things. Well, this is what I'm saying. It doesn't ask that you hide from your truth. You're no longer hiding from yourself in this connection. Okay? All right. And thank you, Natalie. I see that. I love your giggles. I actually love my giggles too. All right. And I love the longer it goes, the more I just love it. So thank you for sharing that. And what do I do when my heart chakra is going crazy? I feel everything. Meditate, deep breaths. There really isn't anything you can do about that. That is your person connecting with you. And perhaps he gets that heart chakra craziness too when you're connecting and that kind of stuff. When you are in physical connection with one another, you might receive a text message, a phone call, or something after going through that heart chakra experience. But believe it, as long as you don't have medical condition, he's connecting with you. Okay? That is a connection. Twin flames connect. And not even just twin flames, even if it's whoever you're connected with the strongest, you're going to feel that. Okay? Especially twin flames. And I am going to trust myself and work on my healing connection with others that are in my life. Absolutely, absolutely. And so before I go, I don't always tell about my program. And if you stay through this, excellent. So as you may know, let me see, I'm pulling this up. All right, so this is the work that I do with Twin Flames. I don't know how it's appearing on YouTube, and I'm just leaving it like that. I'm not even going to go to the slideshow. So my work with Twin Flames is connection, and this is what I do. People's lives transform. People are experiencing better connection with themselves, with their family. Like folks who haven't been in contact or have issues with their adult kids or anything like that, things start to really come together because of that. And when the twin flame comes in, they are able to experience that connection instead of letting the triggers take over and the ego and all this kind of stuff. You really feel safe. I should say safer. In connection, it's a work in progress. You don't ignore those parts of yourself because that's where the healing happens. In your connection, okay? And so I did go a little bit about me. So the connection shows us how we are experiencing connection with ourselves and with another person. And we are taught to experience connection through fear and not love. I'm going to tell you this. You can experience, I'm always jumping around here, right? You can experience connection even when you have the fear. Okay, you're not going to hear this from a lot of people. You can experience it even when you have the fear because you're no longer hiding from yourself. Okay, this is not about hiding from yourself. And so this is my inner guidance and healing program. It changes all of that. And like I mentioned, stop running from these things. Your fear, your ego, your limiting beliefs. They provide you with opportunities for healing and growth. Okay? You don't have to run from those anymore. All right. And like we mentioned, align with your intuition. We spoke about intuition and let your inner guidance lead instead. Okay. So there are 12 sessions, 60 to 9 minutes each. It's a non-judgmental space. I truly love connecting with all of you. I love connecting with my clients and that kind of stuff. You can talk about the things in your heart because healing is there. Anything that comes up, that's leading you towards your healing. So obviously, I don't know what other people are doing out there with their twin flame programs. They might say you can't talk about your twin flame, but your experience, the experience you had with your twin flame offers healing there too. And once you uncover what that is, you're not repeating that again. Okay. And the only way to figure that out is to actually talk about it. So you can talk about the things that are in your heart. And of course, the bonuses, you have access to my courses and the Divine Masculine Healing Journal. I talk about that journal. I'll talk about it in a moment. I do have this one slide, how the universe constantly guides you is through your inner knowing. You have a gut feeling. You're guided by your intuition and even your feelings. You'll receive messages and dreams that feel significant to you. You notice signs, synchronicities, and repeated numbers. They all mean something. And you'll receive direct guidance to take or not take action. Okay, that's super important. I got to figure out how to stop sharing my screen here. Oh, here we go. Okay, that is super important. Take action, don't take action, all this kind of stuff. What a lot of people do, they hear their intuition. You need to reach out. You need to do it. And they're like, I can't listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it. Or get this, you need to pull your energy away. It's time to do that. And you're like, I can't do that. Like, I'm going to hurt their feelings if they can't reach me, if I'm not answering, if I'm not, I don't know, whatever your intuition is telling you, it's going to tell you to do some things. And then the people pleasing part of us says, I can't do that. You're going to get hurt. I can't. Okay. But your intuition says, hey, we're helping you here. And one of the things when that I see when people do not listen to their intuition, something starts to unfold that they don't really like. And they're like, I should have listened to myself. Don't be that one. All right. If that's you, I was there too. It's fine. It's time to really start listening to yourself. Really listen. Okay. And my intuition is telling me to reach out. They're waiting for you and they love you, but I don't know if it's mind or soul. Well, if it gets louder and louder, that's your intuition because it will start to get louder. And it will make itself so obvious eventually if it's meant for you to truly reach out. And this is, I offer you this when you are guided to reach out. There may be a reason for it. You don't know what that reason is. Your soul knows. The universe knows. Reach out. Because it may be the thing they really need at that time. And you reach out because your intuition said so. And they're like, oh, I needed that. You just never know. We really don't. When our intuition tells us to do something, go ahead and do it. All right. And hi, Diamond. So glad you're here. And I look gorgeous. Thank you so much. And all right, Natalie says, I think this is the place I'm in. I'm pulled it right back. I'm moving home and I really need to focus on me and my children and connection. And connection. Connection is just one of the most beautiful, amazing things. And like I mentioned, for myself, I teach this stuff to my kids as well, because as a parent, when you do that, it's a gift you give to your child. You know, yesterday my son was a bit upset because he really wanted to buy an arm sleeve before his football practice, and he thought he had no time. And so he did like a little rage thing. And then later he was like, Mom, I'm sorry I got mad at you. He apologizes. You know, when he gets loud, he's like, I didn't mean to do that. And I was like, you yelled at me? You were angry? When? And he was like, no, you remember about the arm sleeve and that kind of stuff? And I said to him, oh, you felt frustrated. And he was like, wait, what? I said, I understand. You felt frustrated. You were concerned that we weren't going to have time. And he was like, thank you, Mom. You know, when we understand connection and we allow ourselves to connect in a non-judgmental way, and this is something you can start right now. You have kids, do it with your kids. It is a gift for them, so that they're not repeating whatever pattern. I mean, everyone has their trauma and they're going to go through some stuff. Not everything is preventable. But you give them the gift of connection where they can feel seen and heard, and they're not attracting some of that stuff. I was going to say garbage, but it's not garbage. It's just people's behavior and understanding and limiting beliefs and pain and ways of processing whatever. That's all it is. I don't judge anybody. I really don't. I really don't. Because we have these programming that make us a certain way. And the wonderful thing about all of you who's doing the work is you're like, I'm no longer letting that run the show. It ends here. And I'm moving forward in a healthy way, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. And I definitely listen to my intuition when I need to reach out to him. All right. Awesome. So all of you are really wonderful. I believe the link is down below. I did put it there if it came out. To book your call if you're ready to go deeper with this and experience connection. All right. I love that everyone joined. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever time it is for you. Bye.